At rank number 20, we have Kosei Subaraba, the one who starts this list. This is not because his quirk is bad. In fact, Solid Air has interesting tactical potential. But compared to the rest of Class 1B, the way Kosei uses it is still limited. Solid Air allows him to breathe out air and solidify it. His breath becomes visible, walls, platforms, or box-like structures that others can touch. This is a unique ability with a defensive focus rather than direct offense. Solid Air only affects the air Kosei creates. He cannot control natural air. Because of that, the limit of this quirk depends on his lung capacity and his physical condition. If Subaraba becomes stronger, he can produce more solidified air and the structures will be sturdier. But in the early stages, the walls he created were brittle and easy to break, as if they were made of glass. This made Kosei look unimpressive when standing next to classmates with stronger and more versatile quirks. During the joint training arc with Class 1A, Solid Air showed a clear evolution. Subaraba created much firmer structures that could endure continuous attacks. He even produced a giant box strong enough to trap an opponent inside. This shows that he has begun to understand how to shape his own air and use his quirk with better strategy instead of relying only on basic defense. Even so, Solid Air still has clear weaknesses. It lacks offensive power, and if he uses it too much, he runs out of breath and the structures lose stability. Because of these limits, rank number 20 belongs to Kosei. Rank number 19 belongs to Kojiro Bondo, one of the most recognizable students in Class 1B thanks to his large body, yellow skin, and a head shaped like a glue bottle. Even though his appearance looks strange and a bit intimidating, Bondo is actually gentle, quiet, and shy. In many ways, he resembles Koji Koda from Class 1A, who is also reserved and has trouble communicating. Bondo always tries to get along with his classmates and keep good relationships with everyone, including Yui, the quietest girl in the class. The trait that makes Bondo stand out is his quirk Semidin. Through the openings on his head, he can spray large amounts of glue like liquid and decide when it hardens. Because of that, Bondo can easily immobilize opponents or block movement paths in a flexible way. At first, this ability looks odd and somewhat limited, but when combined with his hero costume and some strategy, it becomes much more effective. During the joint training with Class 1A, Bondo showed that he could use his glue to restrain opponents from a distance. Even so, Bondo does not have many close combat skills, so most of his power is passive. He usually sprays glue from afar and waits for his target to fall into the trap. For that reason, even though his quirk has potential, Bondo still stays in a lower position in this ranking. Rank number 18 goes to Sen Kaibara, the student who wields the quirk Gyrate, which allows him to rotate any part of his body at very high speed. In theory, this ability opens many possibilities for powerful physical attacks or creative defensive moves. During the joint training with Class 1A, Kaibara had a standout moment when he faced Ojiro. He used his spinning arms to latch onto Ojiro's tail, stopping his opponent for a moment and gaining a brief advantage. This application was effective, but still simple compared to what a high-speed rotation quirk could achieve with proper development. If Kaibara learns how to transfer rotational force from his legs through his torso, then into his arms and finally his hands, he could create a strike with massive stored energy. In simple terms, it would work like using the acceleration of the whole body to unleash an extremely powerful spinning blow. This is the kind of potential Gyrate can reach if Kaibara develops his technique further. But up to now, his feats in the anime and manga remain limited. Kaibara mostly spins his arms like drills and throws straightforward attacks. It is not a bad start, but clearly shows that he has only touched the surface of his quirk. If Kaibara continues to train and gains a deeper understanding of how to connect his body movements, then Gyrate can become one of the most dangerous close combat skills in Class 1B. Rank number 17 goes to Yosetsu Awase, one of the most notable students in Class 1B, thanks to having more than one important showing across the series. His quirk is Weld, which allows Awase to fuse any objects together, whether organic or inorganic. The effect is similar to welding metal but without heat or special tools. As long as he touches two objects at the same time, Awase can bind them together in a way that is almost impossible to separate. This lets him easily pin opponents to walls or attach them to heavy objects to neutralize them. With this type of ability, Awase has great potential in tactical situations, especially in urban combat where everything around him can become a tool. However, Weld has clear limitations. Awase must make direct contact with the target, so he is at a disadvantage against long-range fighters or opponents who attack aggressively. In addition, Awase has not shown strong close combat skills, so reaching an enemy to activate Weld is sometimes harder than solving the problem itself. His biggest highlight comes from the training camp incident when the League of Villains attacked. Awase bravely carried Momo on his back while escaping from the chainsaw-armed Nomu and saved her life. After that, he used Weld to attach Momo's tracking device onto the Nomu. Thanks to that, Deku and his friends discovered the location where Bakugo was held. Without that moment, Class 1A might never have found any clue about Bakugo's whereabouts. Awase still has many things to improve, but what he has shown proves that this quirk has strong potential and can become extremely useful when he trains in the right direction. Rank number 16 belongs to Setsuna Tokage, whose hero name is Lizardy. Her quirk is Lizard Tail Splitter, which allows Setsuna to split her body into many separate pieces and control each piece independently. These pieces can even fly. This ability is very similar to Buggy's Devil Fruit in One Piece, and it helps Setsuna a lot in combat and recon missions. During the joint training, she showed impressive flexibility by splitting her body into 50 pieces to confuse her opponents. The pieces scattered across the battlefield made tracking and scouting abilities completely useless, especially quirks that rely on sound or directional sense. Thanks to that, Setsuna can distract the enemy and create openings for her teammates to advance. However, things change when it comes to close-range combat or direct confrontation. Her match against Bakugo's team is the clearest example. Setsuna has a very versatile quirk, but she still lacks the control needed to use its offensive potential. Her pieces can be caught if she is forced into a direct fight. Once split apart, she also needs time to coordinate and make decisions, so her combat rhythm is slower than others. The most important weakness is that if any part of her body is damaged, Setsuna still takes the full pain. This makes Lizard Tail Splitter a double-edged ability. It is very useful for infiltration, escape, and distraction, yet very dangerous when facing brutal opponents. In simple terms, Setsuna's quirk is an excellent tool for controlling the battlefield and causing confusion, but in real combat she must think carefully about every move. If she improves her technique, Setsuna can become a complete scout-type fighter. But for now, rank number 16 fits what she has shown. Rank number 15 belongs to Reiko Yanagi, whose hero name is Emily, and who possesses the quirk Poltergeist, a mysterious and eerie ability. Poltergeist allows Reiko to manipulate light objects from a distance similar to a form of telekinetic control. This is a quiet ability but very effective when used properly. Reiko is not the type of student who creates explosive moments in battle, and she does not have a strong presence, yet this is exactly what defines her. Her quirk fits her quiet and calm personality as if it is a natural extension of her style. During the joint training, she demonstrated the ability to control multiple objects at the same time and launch them with impressive accuracy. However, her power still has limitations. At that time, she could only affect objects with the weight of an average person. We have not seen her lift other people or lift herself using Poltergeist, and her wide-range offensive options were still limited. But this can change because the foundation of Poltergeist has great potential if Reiko expands her range of control and develops more advanced techniques. In fact, this improvement has already appeared in the final war arc. Reiko supported Mount Lady by using Poltergeist to manipulate massive weapons and move them into position. This is a major step forward compared to what she showed before, proving that her lifting capability has increased significantly and that she has moved beyond manipulating small objects. At the moment, Reiko stands in a mid-tier position in the ranking, but she is one of the students in Class 1B with the most surprising potential. With her quiet fighting style and a quirk that can grow in many directions, Reiko is definitely a name to watch in the future. Rank number 14 goes to Itsuka Kendo, the class representative of Class 1B and one of the most prominent students of her year. According to popularity polls, Kendo consistently ranks among the most well-liked students. She possesses the quirk Big Fist, an ability that lets her enlarge her hands up to 3 times the size of her body, which multiplies her physical strength. At first, the quirk may sound a little silly compared to many others, but Kendo has proven that she can turn it into a real weapon. The most notable aspect of Kendo is her close combat skill. Unlike many of her classmates, she has solid technique and knows how to strike with high accuracy. When combined with Big Fist, every hit she delivers has real impact in battle. The ability to enlarge her hands does not limit her mobility. Throughout the series, Kendo has carried teammates to safety-handled situations involving toxic gas, and even shattered metal shields made from tungsten, a material considered one of the hardest in the world. This is not a small increase in strength, but a real breakthrough that helps her stand out. It also explains why she placed 5th overall in the UA entrance exam. The best part about Kendo is the potential she still has. In battle, she always knows when to enlarge her hands to maximize force, and this shows how strategic her thinking is even in intense fights. If she keeps training and expands the reach of her quirk, it is not impossible for her to throw punches strong enough to break large structures in the future. For now, Kendo's position in the ranking is well-deserved thanks to her consistency, reliable strength, and well-trained combat skills. She is always an important pillar of Class 1B, and a clear example of how a seemingly simple quirk can become a dangerous weapon when used by someone smart and disciplined. Rank number 13 belongs to Pony Tsunotori, the foreign exchange student loved by many and known by her hero name Rockety. Pony is easy to recognize thanks to her large, round eyes, long blonde hair, hoof-shaped horns, and her distinctive tail. Her Quirk horn cannon allows Pony to fire her own horns as high-speed projectiles with great accuracy. The special part is that her horns grow back almost instantly so she can use them continuously without worrying about running out. In combat simulation exercises, Pony showed that she can fire multiple horns at once and also control at least 4 of them as if moving them with her mind. Each horn can change direction in mid-air and attack from different angles. This ability lets her apply heavy pressure on any opponent if they hesitate even for a moment. What makes Pony even more impressive is the physical strength of her horns. She once used them as support points to lift the full steel weight of Tetsu when he was in his complete metal form. This proves that Pony's horns are not only offensive projectiles, but also have strong load-bearing capacity. In terms of weight support, her horns surpass object-manipulating abilities like Reiko Yanagi's Poltergeist. Thanks to their versatility and strength, her horns can be considered a limited version of Hawks' feathers. Pony is obviously far from reaching the level of the number 2 hero, but the fact that she can even be compared in that direction shows how much potential she has. With future training and good strategy, Pony can absolutely become a flexible and well-rounded heroine. Rank number 12 belongs to Kinoko Komori, the heroine known by her hero name She-Mage, who possesses one of the strangest yet surprisingly versatile quirks. Her Quirk mushroom allows her to produce many types of mushrooms in just a few seconds. The spores spread from her body, and once they touch a surface, they immediately grow into full mushroom. She can cover walls, the ground, or trees, and she can even make mushrooms appear directly on her opponents and keep them active for hours. The special part is that Kinoko can control exactly where the mushrooms grow and how fast they spread. She can create entire zones filled with mushrooms to block vision or support allies like Kuroiro, who become stronger in dark or obscured environments. This power was shown clearly during the joint training match where she disoriented her opponents within minutes. She even carried humidifying spray bottles to help her spores spread faster and completely take control of the battlefield. Mushroom is not a strong offensive quirk, but it has very high suppression potential. This was proven when Tokoyami, despite restraining her, could not knock her out, allowing Kinoko to grow mushrooms in his throat and lungs and take him out of the fight. This move combined biological knowledge with precise spore control and also became the foundation for her special technique, Split-Gill Lung Strike, a move that grows mushrooms inside an opponent's windpipe and suffocates them. Interestingly, Kinoko's personality is the opposite of her intimidating quirk. In the UA Sports Festival, she was shy and hid her eyes behind her hair, but during the joint training, she was confident, smiling, and quick to take the initiative. She also loves giving cute names to mushrooms and remembers the scientific names of each species. Even though her quirk can be frightening, Kinoko always uses it with restraint and avoids excessive harm. When she grew mushrooms inside Tokoyami, she apologized and told him to take medicine to recover. During the Paranormal Liberation War arc, Kinoko's ability was used by pro heroes to help control the battlefield. This proves she is not just a student who causes trouble, but a real tactical asset. At rank number 11, we have Togaru Kamakiri, also jokingly called Mr. Mantis by his classmates, and known by his hero name, Jack Mantis. While many students in Class 1B look fairly normal, Togaru is completely different with green skin, green hair, green eyes, and a face that resembles an insect. Togaru has a fierce fighting spirit and is always ready to charge into any battle. Togaru is considered the Bakugo of Class 1B because of his aggressive and hot-tempered personality. However, he does not lose control like Bakugo and keeps a certain level of composure. His quirk Razor Sharp allows him to create blades of various sizes from any part of his body. He can adjust their shape and length during combat, which turns Togaru into a mobile arsenal capable of both offense and defense at all times. During training, Togaru proved the sharpness of his blades as he easily cut through steel and sliced through many other hard materials. Since the blades grow directly from his body, Togaru can defend himself through natural reflexes without preparation. Unlike many students who depend on tools or complex strategies, Togaru only needs the strength of his own body. This allows him to stay flexible and ready to counterattack when hit by surprise. Compared to other physical quirks like Kendo's Big Fist, his ability is superior in natural damage output and versatility. Whether it is close-range slashing, blocking counterattacks, or creating footholds for movement, Togaru can handle everything using his blades. Rank number 10 belongs to Hiryu Rin, whose hero name is Dragon Shroud. He originally came from China and moved to Japan with his family when he was still in elementary school. Hiryu possesses the Quirk Scales, an ability that combines both offense and defense, making him a very formidable fighter. This quirk allows Hiryu to generate reptile-like scales on his body to protect himself or use them as weapons. From his earliest appearances, Hiryu showed that Scales is a strongly defensive quirk. When he covers his body with layers of scales, it becomes like wearing armor that reduces damage and helps him stay balanced under heavy pressure. Beyond defense, Hiryu can detach the scales from his body and use them as close-range blades or launch them forward to deal long-range damage. This is something many physical-type students cannot do. This balanced combat ability was shown clearly during the joint training match where Hiryu used his scales to break obstacles, block paths, create pressure on the enemy, and support his team with precise counterattacks. All of this shows that Hiryu Rin has a very promising growth path. A quirk that is strong in both offense and defense and that adapts well to many conditions makes him one of the most well-rounded students in Class 1B. Rank number 9 belongs to Shihei Kurohiro, whose hero name is Scheming Hero Vanta Black. Shihei is easily recognized thanks to his jet black skin. His quirk black allows him to merge into any dark-colored object. The quirk does not care about the size or weight of the object, so as long as there is even a small amount of black, Shihei can enter it and move through the entire structure at very high speed. This ability gives him a major tactical advantage, because Shihei can travel without leaving any trace and appear in completely unexpected positions. During the joint training match, he used black to merge into and take control of Tokoyami's dark shadow, manipulating it freely and leaving Tokoyami helpless. This makes him a hard counter to Tokoyami, and a real threat to any quirk that relies on darkness. Shihei is strongest when fighting in tight and dimly lit areas. Places like factories, pipe systems, or narrow dark passageways are ideal environments for black to function at full power. Beyond his stealth ability, Shihei also has a sharp tactical mind. Before his match with Tokoyami, he intentionally made himself the main target to lure Tokoyami into a dark area, then used black to move at extreme speed. This way of thinking shows that he is not only strong because of his quirk, but also because he prepares clear strategies in advance. However, that same match also revealed Shihei's weakness. A strong light source or a sudden increase in brightness will force him out of the dark object and prevent him from maintaining the merged state. This is why black is strongly countered by light-based quirks. Shihei also has another important limitation. If an enemy traps him inside a dark object and holds that object in their hand, he cannot escape freely. This is a weakness that opponents can exploit if they understand how black works. In summary, black is not just a combat quirk, but one with tremendous potential for stealth and intelligence gathering. With the right support equipment, Shihei's abilities could become even more formidable. Rank number 8 belongs to Yui Kodai, the heroine known as Rule, who always carries a blank expression and speaks very little. Yui is so quiet that many classmates think she cannot show emotion, but in reality she cares deeply about her friends. This was shown when she helped take care of them after they were affected by Mustard's poisonous gas during the training camp. Yui's quirk size seems harmless at first, but holds frightening potential when used correctly. By touching an object, she can make it grow or shrink at will. This kind of ability appears simple in the beginning, yet the more you watch it, the more you realize how many tactical applications it has, especially when combined with other support-type quirks. When paired with Reiko Yanagi, the two create an extremely troublesome combo. Yui shrinks objects so Reiko can manipulate them easily with Poltergeist as if they were toys. Then, at the exact moment they need to strike, Yui instantly returns the objects to their original size, turning tiny pieces into massive obstacles that crash down on opponents or block escape routes. This combo is mobile, unpredictable, and gives them exceptional control over space during battle. Yui's support power is seen even more clearly when she teams up with Mount Lady in the Paranormal Liberation War. There, she enlarged huge objects like bus-sized wrenches for Mount Lady to use as weapons. What is interesting is that we still do not know the upper limit of her quirk. No one knows how large Yui can enlarge an object or how long she can maintain the effect. This uncertainty makes her quirk full of unexplored potential. Rank number 7 belongs to Manga Fukudashi, whose hero name is Comic Man, one of the most uniquely designed students in Class 1B. His speech bubble-shaped head is unmistakable, and his quirk is one of the most creative abilities in the entire UA generation. His quirk comic allows manga to manifest onomatopoeia as real physical objects, and each word produces an effect based on the sound it represents. His ability may look strange at first, but it actually has a very wide range of applications. For example, onomatopoeia such as kaboom create huge and sturdy letters that crash through the battlefield and can even act as walls. Damp creates letters that work like a humidifier. Biwa produces electricity that flows through his body. These manifestations are surprisingly durable and can even withstand Yuga Aoyama's laser beams. Because of this, manga can reproduce many types of effects simply by choosing the right wording, making him extremely versatile. During the joint training, manga already showed how useful his quirk could be, but he truly shined during the final war. When the UA fortress was activated and Kaminari's energy began running low, Manga created letters with electrical effects to recharge him, allowing the system to keep operating and hold Shigaraki in the air. This was the first time he used his quirk on such a large scale, and he directly contributed to stopping the strongest enemy at that moment. He also created massive letters to redirect an attack from All for One, a brave move that proved manga can play an important role in large-scale battles when given the chance. Rank number 6 belongs to Jirota Shishida, whose hero name is Gavoden. He is a tall young man with a beast-like appearance, but do not let that fool you because Jirota is actually very polite and highly intelligent. His quirk beast allows Shishida to transform his body into a feral form with greatly enhanced physical strength and much faster reflexes. Whenever he activates his quirk, Shishida gains a large boost in speed, power, and reaction time, turning him into a true close combat warrior. At first glance, Beast looks like a classic transformation type ability, but the key difference is that Shishida keeps full control of his mind while transformed. He does not lose awareness and does not become a danger to his teammates. Instead, Shishida uses his strength strategically, increasing his striking power, improving his mobility, and taking advantage of his heightened senses to track enemy movements in tight areas. This was shown clearly during the joint training match. Shishida did not rely only on brute force. He changed his fighting rhythm, read his opponent's intentions, and shielded his teammates when needed. His ability to switch between offense and defense shows that he understands his limits and knows how to make use of every advantage Beast offers. Shishida's quirk is not flashy, but he is the perfect example of a strong, disciplined, and reliable fighter. In a class filled with unusual abilities, sometimes what you need most is direct power combined with a clear mind, and that is why Jirota Shishida stands at rank number 6. Rank number 5 belongs to Nirengeki Shota, whose hero name is Mines, the vice representative of Class 1B. Shota has a humble personality and always gives proper credit to others. Surprisingly, he is also acknowledged as a good friend of Class 1A's class representative, Tenya Ida. His quirk Twin Impact allows him to create a stronger second hit on any person or object he has touched before. The special part is that the second impact can be triggered at any time, even long after the first hit has already happened. Twin Impact opens many possibilities. Shota can fight directly, striking an opponent and forcing them to be knocked back twice, or he can use it to alter the trajectory of flying objects so they turn around and attack from a different angle. He can also store an impact inside an object and activate it like a trap at the perfect moment. As long as Shota touches the target once, everything afterwards becomes a potential surprise attack. This creates many unpredictable situations. Imagine Shota throwing a small object like a pebble, letting it glide past the target, then triggering the second impact in midair, causing the pebble to bounce back and hit the opponent with far greater force. This is the reason Twin Impact is often considered one of the most frightening quirks when used correctly, because it forces the enemy to stay alert at all times. Rank number 4 belongs to Tetsu, whose hero name is Real Steel. Tetsu is proof that sometimes you do not need a flashy quirk to stand out because pure physical strength can be more than enough. His quirk Steel allows him to transform his entire body into solid steel, creating a metallic armor capable of tanking direct hits. When activated, his body becomes heavier, harder, and far more durable. Thanks to this, Tetsu can charge straight into physical combat, break through obstacles, and endure harsh conditions that ordinary people could never withstand. Many viewers consider him the Class 1B version of Red Riot Kirishima from Class 1A, but the truth is, the two still have clear differences. Kirishima hardens his body through an organic process, while Tetsu transforms completely into actual metal. This gives him impressive durability, but also gives him natural weaknesses associated with metal. Extremely high temperatures can soften his steel body and reduce its hardness, while strong magnetic forces can disrupt his movement. Tetsu's strength also depends on his overall physical condition, especially the amount of iron his body absorbs. With proper training and physical preparation, his power can increase significantly. What makes Tetsu admirable is the reckless bravery in how he uses his quirk. During the Paranormal Liberation War, he charged straight into a sea of flames to support Ashido Mina, proving that he is not only strong but also resilient and determined like a true steel warrior. His steel body resisted heat far better than expected, which shows that Tetsu had trained himself to push past the natural limits of his quirk. Tetsu is the type of student who does not need complicated technique. All he needs is toughness, mental grit, and the willingness to run into danger first. That simplicity creates real effectiveness because in the hands of someone with unwavering resolve like him, the quirk Steel can shine just as much as any complex ability. Rank number 3 belongs to Ibara Shiozaki, also known as Vine. From her very first appearance, Ibara gives off an impression that is both serene and intimidating because her quirk combines tactical power with wide area control. Her quirk Vines allows Ibara to manipulate a large number of thorny vines that grow from her head and extend them at will. These vines can reach far to attack, restrain, and bind opponents, create barriers, or weave together into walls right in the middle of combat. With precise control and fast deployment, Ibarra can fight effectively at both close and long range and maintain advantage against unpredictable opponents. This is a quirk that blends defense and space control extremely well, making it difficult for speed-based or close combat fighters to approach her. Ibarra's vines are not only long and strong, but also covered in thorns, which makes direct attacks against them a mistake. A single whip of the vines is enough to cause injury and force opponents to keep their distance. This lets Ibarra defend and counterattack naturally, similar to a passive damage effect. However, the quirk still has limitations. It depends heavily on sunlight and water, so in harsh environments, the vines lose strength. In addition, Ibarra's physical stamina is not unlimited. When confronted with overwhelming power like Gigantomachia, her vines were easily torn away, which shows that this ability is not meant for fighting opponents far beyond human strength. Even so, in the hands of a strategist like Ibarra, Vines is one of the most well-rounded quirks in Class 1B. It allows her to control the area, attack, defend, and support teammates in many different ways. Rank number 2 belongs to Juzo Honanuki, known by his hero name Mudman, a student who entered UA through a direct recommendation along with names like Todoroki and Yaoyorozu. That alone shows how talented he is. As expected, Juzo possesses one of the most tactically powerful quirks in Class 1B. His quirk Softening allows him to soften any inorganic surface he touches. A single light touch can turn solid ground into sinking mud or soft, malleable material that prevents opponents from standing or moving properly. Juzo can move freely through the terrain he creates, as if he were swimming through the ground, while his opponents lose control of their bodies. This is a quirk that turns the battlefield into a weapon, and anyone who relies on speed or mobility is quickly neutralized. As long as Juzo places his hand on the ground, the entire field becomes his ally. In several battles, even Class 1A had to admit that Softening is one of the hardest quirks to counter because it disrupts the flow of combat right from the start. Juzo can soften the ground to make opponents sink, and once they are trapped, he only needs to harden the surface again to secure them. However, Juzo always uses his power with restraint and focuses on control, support, and protection rather than destructive offense. This is why his quirk maintains a perfect balance between power and heroic ethics. Juzo does not appear often, but every time he enters combat, Softening demonstrates superior area control and team support. He does not need overwhelming attacks because a single well-timed use of Softening can shift the entire fight. Juzo Honanuki controls the battlefield through calm strategy, and that is why he stands firmly at rank number 2 of Class 1B. Rank number 1 of Class 1B belongs to Naito Monoma, the strongest student in the class, and a character impossible to ignore whether you like him or not. Behind his provocative attitude and sarcastic comments lies a quirk with terrifying strategic value. His quirk copy allows Monoma to duplicate the quirk of anyone he touches. This foundation is extremely powerful because with a single brief contact, Monoma can turn an opponent's strength into his own. Monoma cannot use multiple quirks at the same time, but he can switch between them very quickly and use the right quirk at the right moment. Through his training at UA, he also learned to extend the duration of copied quirks and even activate abilities that are complex in nature. Monoma's most explosive moment happened during the final war. There, he played a critical role for the entire hero strategy and for the safety of Japan. He copied Warp Gate from Kurogiri and continuously created warp portals to transport hero units to their assigned battle zones. This allowed the heroes to split the villain forces and position each team exactly where they needed to be. It was a mission that required absolute precision because a single mistake would cause the entire relocation strategy to collapse. Not only that, Monoma also copied Erasure from Aizawa to help suppress Shigaraki during the early phase of the war. This is a quirk that demands extreme focus and discipline since even 1 second of distraction will cancel the effect. The fact that Monoma maintained Erasure for an extended period in the chaos of battle shows that he possesses far more willpower and mental resilience than his playful attitude would suggest. However, copy still has limitations. Monoma needs direct contact with the quirk holder, and this is difficult in high-speed combat or against long-range opponents. Each copied quirk also has a time limit, forcing Monoma to calculate carefully when to copy and when to use each ability. But in the hands of someone as intelligent and tactical as Monoma, these limitations become opportunities to outread his opponents. Even if he is not the most beloved student, Monoma is undeniably the most valuable member of Class 1B. His intelligence, strategy, and the quirk copy make him a key factor in every large-scale battle. And this is also why 8 years after the story's ending, he appears on the list of the top 10 heroes in Japan. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos.